Hi, I'm Seamless, and this is another doing stuff. It's number 2 doing stuff, which means that today I'm gonna do some stuff. Don't really know so much what, but right now I'm just gonna mess around with making drums. I just felt like experimenting with drum synthesis and that stuff, and I figured why not stream that, because that's the spirit of doing stuff, which is where it's a show about me doing stuff. I feel like I'm one of those guys on the Rick and Morty interdimensional TV episode where it's like, hi, I'm this guy and I do this totally random thing. Here's my advertisement for this totally random thing that I do. So that's that. Someone in the chat says, thanks for streaming at 11:39 p.m. I have school tomorrow. That's all I got to say about that. All right. So now what I'm going to do, I want to do kicks first. Let's do kicks. Let's do kicks first. So kicks are pretty easy, but I wanna start with one just because I want to experiment. And like what I've been trying to do is experiment with layering realistic sounds with electronic sounds, and that somehow works. It's gonna be way shorter than that. Well, you know, this always comes out like this, so I guess I am going to go all the way down. So the center line here is where 0 pitch is, which means it's the same pitch as where it used to be. Above it, and then there's change pitch up, change pitch down. And then this knob tells us what the range is. By default, it's 1 octave. 1 octave up, 1 octave down. But you can go all the way up to 4 octaves. So it's 4 octaves up and 4 octaves down. And the kind of range I want is basically the entirety of it, starting all the way up and all the way down. As you can see here, from C1 to C9, that's 9 octaves. So having 8 octaves of motion is basically as good as it gets. To that end, though, setting this to 60 hertz doesn't actually mean 60 hertz anymore, because now it's 4 times lower than 60 hertz, which means I guess it's 240 hertz. To make that 4 times. Is that what the 4 times 6 is 24, right? I'm pretty sure that's right. Yeah. Math. But that's how I was incorrect. That's because it's off. There it is. But see, that's actually way lower than what. Oh, it's because it's a derp. Well, no, that should still be 60 hertz if I were up to here. So I want to go. Oh, this needs to be. I see what happens now. This. There you are. Weirdly, 4 times? Whatever. I'm sure there's math in there. It's late. I'm sorry. I don't care. So here's the first hurdle we run into when we're doing this with like something like Citrus, is that what we're trying to do is have it start high and go low really fast, but the resolution of this graph that we're looking at here isn't actually as good as what we see it become. We can see that, right? Yeah. Like it's not actually this curve. Like if I were to do that, it's not that good. It looks a little bit more like little angles all up in here. And the resolution of that is affected by the setting of high-quality envelopes, which, as you can see, is on when you render it, but off on draft to save on CPU. Turn it on, though. There's a similar setting inside Harmor, which is the envelope granularity in the Advanced tab, where lower values indicate higher resolution. I like having this up so I can see the spectrum. What time zone is Seamless in? Someone in the chat asks. I am in EST. Well, EDT. I'll be in EST in November 6th. Because that's when daylight savings changes. It should be going lower in pitch than I think it is. I guess actually what I want to do. Ooh, bass. So like where in time this curve is and the particular curvature affect sort of the tone of what's going on. So you see how like if I have it up here, these particular frequencies get accented more because it stops here for a second and then comes around. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to turn the I'm going to start the phase a little bit off. This kind of adds extra high frequency pitch, like snap to it, which will exist even if the kick itself is kind of low. I could honestly be doing that forever, so I'm gonna relax a bit. Someone in the chat asks a somewhat relevant question: Is I'm a remix of your track? Is that something that's okay to stream? Actually, hilariously, if you're doing it on Twitch, it's more likelihood of you being okay with that because Twitch is partnered with the label that I'm signed to, Fixed, to allow streamers to use music that's from Fixed. So I believe that might apply to you like remixing the track, in the sense that I don't believe you'll be bugged for copyright stuff in general. But I'll actually take a second to talk about sort of copyright in that for a little minute. Because I get questions a lot about people being like, oh, can I remix this? Can I remix that? Can I post this? Can I, what about like, how does this work? Like, how do I avoid getting a strike and like whatnot and whatever? And, I mean, I guess probably this video isn't the best place to do it, but I guess why not, talk a little bit about it. Maybe people will learn later. But as far as remixes go, unless like whoever owns it gives you permission, which is not necessarily the artist, you're not really supposed to do it at all. But if you're not like making money off of it, people generally don't care. And when you do a remix, for example, and you like put it up on YouTube, you might get hit with a claim, which is not the same thing as a strike. What a claim is when some other company claims that your video contains their content and they're fine with you having it, but they just want to take the ad revenue. Now, if like you were expecting to get, notoriety and revenue for doing a remix, like without being like officially licensed and like integrated with the setup that whatever label owns whoever you're remixing has, then that's like extremely unlikely. And then you might run into some problems, especially if you try to like release it on some compilation album, or if you try to get it sold like on someone like remix contests especially could be kind of weird about this. But like if I'm having a remix contest for my own stuff, then all the rules for that will be plainly stated. But like if you're using my content as like a mashup of someone else's for some other kind of contest, that might be a bit of a problem. In general, though, like you can just like bootleg a remix whenever you want. Just don't expect to get any kind of money off it. And if you are making any money on, at least as far as I'm concerned, like for me personally, my policy is that if you're not making any money off it, then I do not care at all what you're doing with it. But also be prepared to get copyright claims on my stuff, because a lot of it is pretty aggressively content ID'd, and especially anything handled by the label that I'm signed to, which isn't everything that's mine. Currently, all the tracks that are inside FL, for example, aren't signed to Fixed. They're mine totally. So, like, you can take that as like, you know, the word of the law. When I say that, it's fine. If you want to remix it, just don't plan to make any money on it. Some of the stuff that is actually licensed by Fix is whatever their policy is, which honestly I'm not totally sure what that is because I haven't had a reason to check. Yeah, that might change for me personally, but like at large, most the reason why people don't just let anyone like remix whatever they want at any time is because like artists to art, they care like how their music is represented, and having like total noobs remix their stuff and make it sound bad is sort of a bad look for them, unless they're prepared for it because they're having a remix competition and that's what they expect to have happen, or they're just particularly open-minded about it and don't give a damn. Like, for example, I don't give a damn. Like, if you want to remix the stuff that's mine, go for it, and I don't care. But like, if you wanted to remix like a Kill the Noise track or something, and for them to be like official, like, for them to allow that to be an official remix would mean that they like either like paid you for it or are going to scrutinize the hell out of it. And they want to be able to do that. They want to have control over that. So that's usually why they don't let the official tag apply to just anybody. And I wouldn't, if you're asking these questions to people, then they're probably not going to apply to you either. But, yeah, just have a little spiel about that. And let's get back to doing what we're doing here. Making derms. So, So that's pretty good for like a real synthy sounding thing, but I'm not synthy thing. Synthy sounding thing, but I don't actually really want to be that synthy sounding. So actually, what I'm gonna do. That's pretty good. So that's a little bit darker. And I'm gonna layer that with something else. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do? Let's be super duper ridiculous about this and make these all individual layers. But also, in fact, if I'm gonna do that, I might as well do that with Patcher. Doop, doop. Pew, 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 pew. Yeah, get ready for a lot of this. Damn, like doing this sort of stuff like sounds like it'd be really interesting, and I'm sure it is really interesting to some people, but like this can get super boring super fast. All right, now I wonder. Suppose I want both of these on. Although, you know what? I have to pee, so I'll be right back. People who are watching this on YouTube aren't gonna have to worry about it because I could pause recording, but people on the stream will just have to wait. So BRB. And we're recording again. Look at that. Time basically froze for people on YouTube. All right. I don't know when I want to change that, but that's okay. I basically want to make a click out of this guy to layer over the other one. And there are some FM shenanigans that I usually do for this sort of thing, but this time I'm going to try and get a click I want out of just pitch motion, which should be pretty easy if I just do this. Now the question is going to be how well is this going to layer together and phase. Ugh, not very well. But you know what? I can adjust that. That's some pretty harsh phasing going on in there. All right, so that doesn't appear to matter. If I made this, added extra harmonics to it. I guess I want it to be in phase. There, make it a higher pitch. That should be interesting. Why does it keep resetting the magnification like that? Jeez. Well, that's a lot of higher frequencies. You see that? Damn. Wow, you know, I feel like kicks just do that like normally. So like like they have that sort of face profile in them. That's sort of what makes them interesting. But they aren't usually that large, like clouded. What was I doing with that? Oh yeah. Wait. Strange. Aha. Burf. All right, actually, I've just had a thought about this. That's kind of not bad. That works out. So that's a low end issue. It's not really an issue, I just kind of like it. I guess you could call that an issue. Oh boy, what pitch matters a lot. If I want to change the pitch, I have to change the pitch of both of them at the same time. So I guess to facilitate that, I'm going to just make X and Y's for the two of them. Or rather just X's. So that if I want to change pitch, I can do so globally. Like forgetting where everything is. Bam. Well, you know, I guess. Why not? Sure. X. Go to X. And so now. What the hell? The pitch is the pitch changing independently? Do I have the same pitch envelope on the two of them? They should be moving together. Are you not 1-to-1? Oh, you're not something. It might be the band limiting. Although if I turn it on, damn, oh boy. Yeah, that wasn't gonna work. The alias thing is causing additional version much of that. So to that end, let's put on a little anti-aliasing. Not something that I do a lot of, but sometimes necessary. There. Interesting. And now let's do some weird stuff. Although, with how well... I don't know if I want to screw up the phase profile too much, but I guess actually I don't have to. Linear phase filters. Bam. This ought to be interesting. This is people in the chat are being weird. For those of you watching on the tubes of YouTube, let's be interesting about this. Ooh, get some hard in there. You hear that now? Damn. Yeah. It feels nice. I mean, I might be really dumb actually now that I think about it because I'm listening to this kind of low, but yeah, I feel like it's doing the job all right. Well, no, I don't. Never mind. This changes fast. Man, I don't usually, I mean, I really wanted to avoid doing this, but let's... All right. I just had a weird thought. I think what I'm going to do is... I was gonna make some room, but now I'm not actually gonna make room using that kick. I'm gonna do that using a more realistic sounding kick for reasons. Wait, no, I don't care about you. Is this what? Where the hell? Jesus, empty. How hard was that? I'm gonna have to make this the right note. Well, fortunately, because I did the things with the hertz setting and not the ratio setting, every note is the same note. This guy, however, cares. This is C sharp 3, but I'm just gonna put all good old C3. Bass drum 1. And as far as that go, let's go in here. Actually, no, let's go in here. Get us. Sure. Do I want to compress that? I guess I do want to compress it. I'm not really sure what I wanted out of this, now that I think about it. one more thought before I just axe this whole thing, because honestly, kind of bad, but This is why we try stuff, you know? This sort of thing is the reason why I know enough about, like, when I hear something, I can think of ways to do it. Because eventually, I guarantee you, someone somewhere will do something like this, and I'll be like, you know, it reminds me of that time I made a kick layer where I fucking distorted it, a low pass it first, distorted it, pitched it low, put a chorus on it, and only reverb, and then put an envelope controller on it to trigger so that it's only on for a short duration instead of the long duration, and to make it do whatever it's doing. Even if right now I don't want to use it. I suppose how well this works will depend on what I do with this compression. All right, doesn't appear I really need to compress the lows too much. That's just right the hell up on there. Of course, it could be faster about it. Wait, how is that distorting? How's that clipping? I have no effects on anything after this, and it should be limiting pretty hard. Oh, I soloed it, that's why. Derp. That's what I wanted to hear. See, that's all right. This lasts too long. little bit like that slapbacky kind of thing. That's because this has a number of reflections in it. And trying to reduce that. And it turns out to be a problem with the regular sample instead. Of course, now I've screwed up my entire phase profile. Not to mention this thing isn't very stable. Let's try not using the short ones. Like what's in... Actually, let's use reverb devices. What the hell? Why did everything suddenly change? All right, well. So much for this fucking thing. I say as I keep messing with it. I'm gonna save this for later. Call that kick test. Why not? So, okay, I want to see some fun stuff. I have been kind of experimenting with this before, and one thing I've tried to do is to see if I can pack an entire, like, fully mixed, perfect sounding drum kit into a patcher. So far, I've done only a little, but I managed to come up with something like this guy. Although, is this going to load properly? For example. So I have this set up. I have, like, this feels a little weird, but it's kind of like I'm trying to, it's a little bit generic, actually. And, like, the purpose of that is I was actually designing this to be outported into loops that I will be using for something else, but, like, I wanted to leave it kind of alone. And I set this up into 4 parts. We have kick, predictably, snare, and then the hats and everything else. And, like, I don't have any, like, toms or anything in here, because for the sort of stuff that I would do with something that sounds like this, I would actually just do the process them entirely separate from the kit. But it's a combo of, like, I'm using the kick top and the snare top from here, and I'm layering that with kicks and snares made digitally. And in this case, they're both bottoms. They're just the parts of them that are the sort of that have the impact. And then layered together with, like, EQ coming out and compression into making them sound like individual things. And, like, another one I tried doing is this kit, which is more recent and a little bit more involved. Until I have to wait for all the samples to load. 1 second. This one didn't work as well, I don't think, personally. Whip. Oh, wow, it loads slower. 600 megabytes of samples, and it's gotta freak out. I forget where I put the superior driver samples. Oh my god. How many? I didn't make that many layers of stuff, did I? Like, where? I mean, I suppose. That's probably fine. It hasn't loaded the freaking ride yet. God. Much sort of a tighter feel. This one was a little bit more ludicrous. It's got similar processing. I have it layered with this guy and this guy, but I've actually also included some other sort of interesting effects. Or did I not do that here? What is this guy? This is the ambience layer, I suppose. This is yeah. I'm basically sidechaining hats and stuff. But I could have sworn I was experimenting. No, I guess I didn't do it. Huh. Weird. I'm using a key splitter here, which is a fun piece of thing. What this does is it puts out 16 channels of zones, essentially. And a zone is so that they're only the C3 and D3, which are the kick and snare, so they're only triggering these for the kick and snare. And then everything else is being triggered here, and they're all coming out to their own individual EQs. This is like basically having like the mixer. And then they're all the various processing and buses coming out to being just one thing. So here's the similar four buses, which is basically kick, snare, hats, and everything else. But then their selective items are being sidechained, and then they're going into a master thing. Yeah. Lots of that. I appear not to have adjusted intelligently many of these things, but this is the kind of stuff that I've been experimenting with. I've also been trying to make some sort of interesting other ones. Here's yesterday's How to Bass that I did, or whenever the hell I did last How to Bass. That's what that was. Yeah. Well, so much for, I don't know, what about that freaking kick? I guess just try to make some basses or something. Let's do some Harmor, because I'm seamless and I use Harmor. Doot. Actually, you know what? I want to experiment with a sound that I made sort of by accident, that I actually make a lot, but I usually avoid because I, for some reason, didn't used to think it sounded good. But I heard it recently. I was like, you know, we could use that. That wasn't quite what I meant, but you know what? I might be able to do something with this. So what I did there was I screwed around with the phase of each individual harmonic and made them different in such a way that they collided, that created that interesting little bit of phase cancellation. Well, that's interesting. That's from the ramping being on. Well, that's just hilarious. That's happening because the levels is being modulated through here, which is causing that. See, now it's solid. That's it. Man, I've never heard of sawed square modulation causing a growl before. Or if I haven't been paying attention. This is a fine speed, I suppose. To that end. Someone in the chat says, "Hey, Steamless, have you ever used FL Studio?" Well, you know, yes, I have. I'm here to say that I have in fact used FL Studio. that's some fun stuff. And then, of course, the eternal question, what does it sound like with Vocodix on it? So what was happening is that there was some latency problems, so I turned the compressor off to sort of alleviate that, because I was trying to mix in these guys. But I'm pretty sure this applies to this in post. But the phasing problems also kind of do that problem. Oh, it's because I'm using band panning like a dumbass. Derp. Ah, God. This is what happens when I do this late at night. I was wondering why I wasn't hearing much of a change. It's because I'm using band panning. Derp, derp, derp. is where that virtual riot trick I used back in the day. By back in the day, I mean like really, really recently when I saw him do it one time, which is to put big old holes and stuff. I like how some of them are sharp, but some of them aren't. I wonder why. Wow, chords. Perhaps a bit of this before that. It's weird how the first harmonic is pretty accentuated out of there, but that's okay because one of the things I'm going to do is I'm actually going to straight up high pass this to give us a better sub. By just doing one of these. I like that idea. Automating this son of a bitch. Interesting. I was about to I was waiting until I was done doing what I was doing to explain to you what I was doing, but I just 100% forgot what I was doing. I couldn't have told you what I just did to save my life, which is good, I guess, that I recorded it. What should I do with this, really? I guess we could use this. I guess we could start doing filter shenanigans or something. Let's do straight up bandpass. Why not? Let's do it kind of harsh though. Should I what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna animate law. I'm gonna automate. I'm gonna say animate again. I'm gonna automate that freaking parameter, and then I'm gonna link the resonance control to that same parameter, so that when the bandpass goes higher, so does the resonance, and it goes lower, so does the resonance. This went to a weird place. Well, that's just what? All right, I think I officially lost the plot here. I don't remember what I'm doing. That sounds like a base that would do pretty good with some volume automation on it as like a main source of automation. Maybe not quite like that. And by not quite like that, I mean 100% not like that. Nah. Nah, with that. Nah. Although I did have a thought. Don't remember what I thought it was before I do that though. I want to flesh out this. Oh, was it a high pass filter? It might have been a high pass filter. Do I want to do a high pass filter before or after the Vocodex though? Let's see what happens if I put it before the Vocodex. That's a pretty typical thing to do, you know, but that might be a little too generic sounding if I do it like that. Hilariously, what would happen if I put that particular set of filter before distortion? Largely suffering. All right, in that case, no high pass filter. Now we're starting to get something kind of kick-ass. So I'm doing theirs, I'm automating as volume pre-effects. I'm not using any effects, so that's just straight up volume. So I'm just going to link that to mod X and automate that. This is before the distortion, which is why we're getting any amount of modulation at all. So that means that a lot, like all this craziness that we're doing is what's driving into the distortion. And that, because the distortion itself has a crazy shape, changing the volume changes how that shape applies to it. That's a weird thing to happen here. That's okay, I guess. I mean, all right. It's kind of a weird deal, but, you know, experimentation. That's how things tend to go. Well, that's fascinating. Oh shit with that. This thing alone is some sort of interesting. This whole time I had the sub like an octave lower. Jeez. Wrong hammer. All right, now I think I'm actually done. This video has just been way too long of me doing this. Well, we're about to see how well this performs. This is kind of the whole concept of the idea behind this series of doing stuff that really I'm just gonna kind of just do whatever. And sometimes it'll be great. Other times, I mean, maybe this was great for some people. Late as hell though, so I'm gonna go to bed. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. As usual, have a nice day.